Hi everyone, welcome to Rike Sports and our Formula One show with F1 Global. Hi Ollie, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. So since our last show, there's not been that much news. We're in that kind of quiet time of pre-season now. All the driver lineups are finalized, but we've had all the liveries released, and today was the last one from Ferrari. So what's your thoughts on them? What's your favorite one? Your least favorite one?
I mean, let's start with least favorite. It's got to be the Williams. I, oof, I'm sorry, but that is the most horrific looking car I've ever seen, possibly in the history of Formula One. Um, I've got it up in front of me now, and there's not. Look, I can see the idea, but when there's amateur designers on Twitter or Instagram designing it with the same colors and it looks better, you know you've done something wrong. So yeah, it's got to be that. Um, my favorite, I mean, I'm torn between three, but it's all the A's. Aston Martin, that green is Alpine, just something new, and I really like that. But that Alfa Romeo, I mean, all they've done is switch the red and blue around, but it looks amazing. But if you twisted my arm, it'd have to be the Aston because that green was just gorgeous. How about yourself? Favorite, at least favorite?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Aston Martin. I love the fact we've gone for that color. It's one of my favorite colors. It's one of the unique colors, and like it just really sticks out. It's a beautiful color. Always, I love the red of Ferrari. Red is my actual favorite color of all. So always love the red of Ferrari. They've gone for a little bit of that different look as well. So yes, there's some good liveries. There's some really bad ones. In terms of a worst one for me, I'm not the biggest fan of orange as a color. So I don't like the McLaren in orange. I prefer their older style where it was the silver and red. That's for me. That's what I
Yeah.
always remember McLaren as. I know the orange is the original color from like back in the day. I've gone back to that recent times, but I'm not a big fan of it. I like you say the Williams as well. Not so sure what gone on with that one, but yeah. The main thing is how they're gonna run this season. So there's been a lot of secrecy, as we know. Like they always like this, but it's been a bit extra this year, I've noticed, especially the likes of Red Bull barely release any images of the new cars or videos, the angles they're showing as well, really not letting on a lot. A lot of it is because they're saying they want to conceal the aerodynamics of the car. They're saying that is the biggest changes to the cars from, we know there's not a big change from last year's rules to this year's rules. And so whatever gains they can make, they want to keep it a secret for as long as possible, which obviously we understand is all part of the pre-season. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that? But especially with Red Bull and the words coming out that they've got a good package.
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull seems to say this every year, but it wouldn't be Red Bull if they didn't pick up their own car. Um, but yeah, it's weird. Like we haven't seen this level of secrecy before for a while, and it's setting us nicely up for next year when it'll be really strange. Brand new looking cars. But yeah, so the floor is now 10 centimeters further in, so the amount of downforce being generated upon the car's wheelbase is going to be sort of quite varied actually compared to what we saw last season. F1 themselves have got a really great write up on the website and explain it far better than I ever could. But that's why teams are being secret. Red Bull showed the car at Silverstone, but they used last year's. AlphaTauri did the same, and I think Aston have been a bit secretive about it as well, about the floor. I imagine every team has in some regard, but you never know. It could hopefully bring some big changes. I'm not thinking it's going to be another Braun-esque season or a Red Bull in 2010 season, but yeah, fingers crossed it could really mix up not the midfield, but mix up the top three. Um, I'm just not sure really if there's going to be much difference. I mean, I think it was Christian Horner today came out and said that the Honda engine for this year is the best that they've ever done. It's unlike anything they've seen before, but who knows? Who knows? Like Renault claims to have over 1,000 horsepower. Mercedes just don't say anything because they're that good. Ferrari hopefully have sorted out their engine. Apparently they're around 35 to 65 brake horsepower down on Mercedes. So yeah, it could be interesting to see actually what this season is. I think it could unfortunately be a bit of a meh one, just because a lot of them will be tinkering and heading into next year, thinking longer term with budget caps. So yeah, I'm not too sure what this season is going to bring, unfortunately. What about you? Have you got a bold prediction based on what you've seen so far?
I'd love for it to be really competitive at the top. We all would, but I can't see it. I just think Mercedes are so strong. I think that even if others improve, which they would have, of course, the Mercedes will improve that a little bit more, as they've proven in the last like 8 years. They've been just
We
so,
can't stop Mercedes.
yeah. So let's hope it's competitive. Like you say, the engines. If Honda's engine is that strong and it's able to compete with a Mercedes engine, that's going to help a lot. And they're normally strong in terms of their car's bodywork. So Adrian Newey is a great designer there for them. Aston Martin as well, they were strong last year in their Racing Point. If they've made some gains, as you said about Ferrari as well. Renault's talking about their engine. Renault with Alpine now, Alonso back in there. There's so many things to look forward to for this season. So really, really looking forward to it. With terms of knowing who's going to have the outright pace, as we know, testing is not really the most reliable guide, but you can get a good idea of who's got pace. What's really important as well is reliability. As we know, there's only one testing this year. It's only 3 days, so I'm sure a lot of teams will be worried about the reliability. What's your thoughts on who? I know it doesn't really play much relevance, but who do you think is going to set the fastest time in pre-season testing?
I think it'll probably be Red Bull. I mean, I imagine they'll want to put a statement out early. They need to do it, especially because otherwise Max Verstappen will look to leave. So I reckon Red Bull will go out strong. Mercedes will probably sandbag. I mean, we're pretty used to that now. And then, to be honest as well, I'm just hoping that Ferrari have produced a decent engine and we see some performance from them, not only for their own sake, but for the sake of Alpha and the Haas. Because, last year we had we had a pretty meh front, top end battle. The midfield was great, but the bottom was, pretty awful to see the Haas and the Alpha doing so badly compared to previous seasons due to the engine. So I think we may see a surprise from Ferrari, actually. If they have sorted this engine out, just maybe they could put a statement down, low downforce, go for it sort of thing. Personally, though, I'm just disappointed about the number of testing days. I think we should have more. I think it's a great opportunity for younger drivers. There's not enough seats in Formula One. It's always an issue. So limiting them to 3 days where, a test driver will get 1 day maybe, and then maybe a couple of practice sessions throughout the year. That's a big thing that needs to change in my opinion. What do you think? Do you think more testing days or fewer testing days even maybe?
No, definitely more testing days, especially through the season as well. I think especially when you're seeing sometimes a team so far ahead, it gives other teams a chance to try and catch up a bit more, So definitely they should try and bring more testing. I think this year it's all a bit different still because of the current situation, lack of time. The last season finishing very late, this season as well, the way the calendar is. So I hope in future, when things are a bit more back to normal, they would have more testing. And one bit of news that is confirmed as well since we last spoke was that Portugal has been confirmed as one of the races. So yeah, that was a great circuit last year. Really looking forward to going back there. And another thing, so it's not been confirmed, but I've been talking about it a lot, is about this whole concept of sprint races. So they're talking about potentially trying it out at 3 tracks next year. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. I mean, it makes sense for F2. It makes sense for F3. They need to mix it up a bit. But, they're proposing it at what is it? Canada, Italy, and Brazil. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the 3, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, those 3 are the proposed tracks, and then it'd be reduced points on offer. So you get a reduced number of points, and then that would sort of set the grid for the Sunday. But the problem is then you have to move Friday practice and to be a qualifying day instead. So then it becomes Thursday practice or maybe even a Wednesday practice, depending on what they want to do.
They're talking about doing for now, Friday morning, 1 practice only, Friday afternoon qualifying, Saturday the sprint race, Sunday the main race. So they're not going to make any extra days. So it'll be really truncated to fit that all into such a short time.
Yeah, and I mean, I know like last year with the new tracks and stuff, the drivers not having practice did make for entertaining races, yeah, because you have limited data. But I don't know, those aren't tracks that we have limited running on, so they know it anyway. And it brings into question, like the cost cap and stuff like that. You've got to remember Mercedes and Red Bull and Ferrari. If they damage the car, it's not too difficult for them to replace parts. But you think of the smaller teams who maybe struggle a bit more financially. If they damage the car badly, will they be given time to fix it? How does that all work? How does it work with, potentially a cost cap coming in as well next season? And then it also brings in the question of the legitimacy of it. I like a bonus point for fastest lap because that can go to anyone in the top 10. But, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me for some weird reason. I like it in the other categories, but I think in Formula One, if you are the fastest, you are the fastest. That's the way it's been. That's the way it always should be. And yeah, I don't know. What are you thinking? Do you think it's a good idea, or are you similar to me, a bit on the
No,
fence?
I'm not a fan of it. I think, it's about the competitiveness of the sport, that the best is going to be the best. And trying to shake it up like this, they're talking about different ideas to try and shake things up. I think the best thing is what's going to hopefully happen with the new cars, that they're going to be able to race closer to each other. And, the big change coming in for next season, that's a good thing. But to try and do these sprint races, I don't really see the point in it. It's like qualifying was being that way. It's about who's got the outright speed over one lap. That gets them their position order for the race. And then it's about who is the best on the race day and bringing the car home in the highest possible place they can bring it home in. So that's always the way Formula One's been, racing's been. So I think they should stick to that. I don't know how it will go. I think if they try, it's not going to work out well. But, that's obviously their decision to make. And we'll see what it's like.
And we know the solution as well for better races. It's to switch the tracks. Like last season, we said it in our end of season review show. Last season was one of the best we've watched in years. And it's because they had a real mix of tracks. A perfect world would be, mixing the circuits every other year. And, you'd have maybe 7 who are the main ones you keep, like Silverstone and Spa. Gimmicks like this aren't the solution. They're a temporary little plaster over it. So they want to get serious about bringing new fans in and making it more entertaining, even more entertaining, I should say. They should consider switching the tracks up more. But, money talks at the end of the day, so that won't happen.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the big thing I'm saying is that the budget cap's coming in. And that should hopefully close the gap between the teams, because it's all about the competitiveness. So if the race is competitive, and as we say, the rule changes next year, if they do work out, the cars can race closer to each other. We're going to say really good, fun races to watch. Maybe it's worth a go. Let's see how it goes, As you said, them tracks, they're speed circuits as well. So I don't know how the sprint races will work. I don't know what it'd be all like. I've not watched much of other Formula as you have. So you would know a bit better about how the sprint races there work. How is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually same track, obviously, but it's just a reduced number of laps. So I presume that's how F1 would do it. I mean, in the feature race for F2 and F3, it is a reduced number of laps compared to an F1 race anyway. So I don't know then if, because you do, let's say on a normal race day, you do 60 laps, but then on a sprint race, you do 20, if they'll then reduce the normal race day laps to reduce the wear on the engine, because these engines are only designed for 5-6 races at a time. Or all of a sudden, then you'll be asking them to do 10 races in the same time they'll do 5 races. So that's normally how it works. I just think it's not very well thought through. The teams will probably oppose it. I think it's been proposed twice already in 2019 and obviously last year. If you want a strong reaction to it, look up Sebastian Vettel's reaction to it. I won't repeat what he said on here, but he made his idea very clear, and I have to agree with him, I think. So, yeah, terrible.
One of the funny ideas I once heard they talk about is reversing the grid. It'll make for a good race, but it just it goes beyond the point of what sport is about. Sport is about the best finishing in the best positions they can, and it doesn't make sense to do that. It would definitely make I wouldn't put it as part of the calendar, maybe as an exhibition race, as a one-off exhibition race. You could do it just for entertainment value, to just completely mix up the order and reverse the grid. But in terms of a sport and the World Championship, it's about who produces the best package, who has the best driver, and they should go on to win the races and win the championship.
Exactly. And I think you've stumbled upon something a little bit there. Maybe have it as a test driver, third driver only event or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, they want to try it out, fine, but have it no championship points. Maybe say, engines, this doesn't count. If you need to replace anything afterwards, you can use an old engine, whatever. But, you use your third driver or your test driver or a young driver. Maybe then there's an opportunity to show what they can do. If we can't do in-season testing, let's try something else. And it doesn't mean anything, but, could be an idea. But it all comes down to money. And so, that's probably why it won't go.
So not long to wait now. Season gets underway. Just over 3 weeks. We got testing this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Bahrain. It's gonna be shown live on TV this time as well. So
Yeah.
that'd be good to watch, see what the cars are looking like. And yeah, then 2 weeks after testing, we go straight to the first race of the season in Bahrain. Really looking forward to it. So that's all from us. We'll have our preview show on the week of that race. Thank you for your time, Ollie.
Thank you, mate.
So all 4 our viewers, please remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Bye.